Hey VC, Uncle Roddus here again. Going to have another go at Stump the VC. Well, actually I did so far last time with the Southern Front album, although I guess a lot of people haven't seen it. So this isn't a piece of vinyl because this particular recording was never released on record, but many years ago in New Zealand here there was a band who, now it had a pretty good name, and I'm not sure if I was familiar with the band before I happened to run into them or purely on the night. But what happened was a friend and myself were wandering through town sort of mid-evening on a Friday, Saturday night in an area of the city which got quite devastated by the earthquakes 5 years ago. This was back in about 1990, and there was a place called the Zetland Lodge or Zetland Tavern down in Cashel Street in Christchurch, and they had a few bands playing here and there. And so we were walking along. There's kind of a mall in that area, and we were walking along the mall, and outside the hotel, or Zetland Hotel, was one of those little signs that's sitting on the footpath, and the name of the band for live tonight was Pretty Wicked Head and the Desperate Men. Now, Pretty Wicked Head and the Desperate Men was a name that hugely appealed to me and my mate. As I said, I can't quite remember whether I'd actually heard of them before that, but we decided to give it a go. So wandered in, paid at the door, wandered in, and never having heard their music before, and we had a fantastic night. There was an absolutely brilliant gig. There was bugger all people there, as you get in gigs in Christchurch for bands like this. Might have been 30 or 40 people there, I can't really remember now. And so there was plenty of room to pogo around and dance around and have a few drinks. And I just remember it being a really good gig, and so impressed with these guys. And at the time, they'd been on tour in Canada before they recorded. Well, what happened? They were touring in Canada, and they recorded some of the songs on this release there, and then the rest of them back in New Zealand. They were originally from Invercargill, down at the very bottom of New Zealand, very small town basically. It's not so small for New Zealand, but it's still a pretty small place. And so I can't remember whether they had a cassette. So this was released on cassette, and I think there was an edition of about 500 copies on cassette released, and I managed to get hold of a cassette. Now I don't remember whether I bought it at the gig itself or whether I bought it fairly soon afterwards, but I bought the cassette, and one of the 500 limited edition cassettes, and listened to it a few times, but it didn't really come across as well as the live gig. It was a bit more laid back, and it's a fairly poppy sort of thing. But I kind of listened to it a few times and kind of put it away and forgot about it really. And then all my cassettes went over the time. They got sold off or given away or lost, and so that one went with it. And then as things do, you start 25 years, 30 years later, whatever, 25 years later, you're thinking about stuff like this. I wonder whatever happened to that, or whatever to that. And you look around and do some searching, and it was pretty obscure release to find, and did turn out that in 1990 a CD version was picked up. 1992 a CD version was picked up. Now, one of the songs on the CD did get quite popular in New Zealand, got a bit of radio play, on the lesser commercial radio stations. So they got a little bit of exposure, and BMG picked it up, and they released a CD, again fairly limited, and it was around for not long, and then disappeared again. And so I've been on the internet, and probably last year I think it was, looking around and seeing if I could find them, and I came across some articles from a few years back, 2011, 2012 I think it might have been, or 13, I can't remember, and there was an article in the Southland Times saying that the locals down there got together and they did a bit of a re-release, but it was very low key, never saw any copies of it. Might have just stayed fairly much local, so I doubt there's very many copies of this around at all. and I managed to be browsing in my local CD emporium again, and lo and behold, there it was, copy. This is the original 1990 CD. Pretty Wicked Head and the Desperate Men, New Age Savage. So this copy was actually purchased for, you can see there, $2.99 at the warehouse. So obviously, yeah, it was quite a while ago, because you certainly wouldn't get much something like this that cheap nowadays. So I picked this up for $10 at their local shop, and got it home and had a listen to it a few times. And to be honest, I've a lot more impressed with it today than I was 25 years ago. It's actually managed to, it's actually handled the time. Sorry, what am I looking for? It's actually aged quite well. It's good pop, good catchy pop music. There's the All New Zealand Heroes was the track that was quite popular back in the day, and the rest of them, there's a wee bit of experimentation. Most of it recorded in Vancouver in Canada, or Vancouver studios. So that's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 tracks out of the 11, and the rest were recorded here in New Zealand. But yeah, no, highly enjoyable CD. Got back into it now, and I actually liked it a lot more than I did back then. So I'm really pleased to have that. And yeah, pretty obscure. So I'm not sure if anyone else in the VC again. James may have it. He's a New Zealand music man, so he may have a copy of it. But like I say, it won't be on vinyl. It was never released on vinyl, so only CD and cassette. And pretty unlikely there's any of the cassettes around, but you never know. All right, well, that's me again. Catch you next time.